Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is HD and it's time for Game 4 here between Nestea and Alive. Of course their teams are Fnatic and I am Incredible Miracle, and Alive is going to be the Red Terran at the 6 o'clock position. Nestea will be the Blue Zerg at the 12. The map is Metropolis, and I am so revved up. I actually definitely have not seen these games up till only saw game 1 of this set. So everything is spoiler free for me here, and we'll just have to see what happens. Alive able to hold off the Baneling all in against Nestea in the last game, and Nestea's known to be the kind of player that can either go all in or play macro. So is Alive. In fact, come to think of it, most Koreans really are that kind of play style. Most Koreans can either play very aggressively or they can play very conservatively, and that's the strength of their game as well, being able to switch it up so that an opponent can't predict how the other player is going to play. That's something I think foreigners need to work on a little bit. We need to work on our ability to being able to switch up our game in order to keep our opponents on their toes or on their back feet. So, you know, keeping them off balance. Now, both these guys are Korean. It is game 4. We'll see what happens here. Nestea brings in his scouting worker immediately. Quick scout, and it will be able to block off the SCV a little bit. Maybe just harass it, but I think the barracks will probably finish in time. Meanwhile, we do have a natural hatchery coming down. Nestea this time is going to get some earlier gas, though. And that's actually kind of peculiar. Usually Zergs, well, usually what Nestea has done this set hasn't been getting the gas this early. But you know what? He could, you know, get the early speed going for him. That is always a nice thing to have. It does sacrifice a little bit of economy. He could even go into Baneling mode again like we saw last game. Drone is going to push away this scouting, or excuse me, Drone is going to chase the scouting SCV. As we have the wall being completed, Alive getting the gas right after the barracks finishes, and a tech lab. And only one SCV mining the gas, so we're going to have a Reaper play here, and there's a Reapers in production. Alive switching things up a little bit, and I really like Reapers on this map. Look at how much high ground, low ground, you know, stuff you've got going on here. All the doodads really allow Reaper super mobility, and a scouting Reaper on this map is really, really good. So, we'll see what Alive can do with it. Maybe he can get a couple of drone kills, or maybe he'll just use it for scouting purposes. There is 2 queens coming up right now, and a bunker is going to come down for Alive. Now, to the Zerg point of view, Nestea did see the gas, so he knows it's not a 2 barracks play, but he still has to worry about the potential Reaper because he saw that gas, and so we do have a Reaper coming in right now. Nestea has 2 queens coming. Will he be able to get the SCV? He will, and that was huge. Now he doesn't have to worry about the Reaper hopping inside the bunker, forces the cancel, and the Reaper's ability to do damage severely hampered now because its protective bunker has fallen. Now going to be regulated just to primarily scouting. We do have a factory coming up meantime inside the main base of the Terran player. A second gas falling down right now, as well as a command center on the low ground. Alive feeling very confident here in his Reaper at keeping the Zerg suppressed so that he can claim the low ground at the natural. And the Reaper's been doing a pretty good job so far. Already 5 kills. It might die now, though. Oh! And this is where I'm talking about Reapers being really good on this map, because you can hop down, or can you? Maybe that lamppost is in the way. It's not going to get the Reaper outside. I guess you can't hop down right there. I'm actually kind of shocked. I'm a little surprised. Maybe these doodads end up blocking the Reapers. Speaking of doodads, this map actually has creep tumors at the 5 o'clock and 11 o'clock. Just as an extra, you know, obstacle to claiming that expansion, you have to bring some type of detection, and you have to wait for the creep to recede, unless you are Zerg. Blue Flame upgrade on the way here for Alive, dropping down the 3 barracks. Wow, he's gonna get Blue Flame off of 1 factory and then go purely bio. Typically, most Terran players, when they go for the Blue Flame in TVZ, they'll add on you know, additional factories and go full on mech. Excuse me, as we saw Alive try to do in the last game on Sandshore Mists. But it looks like Alive is going to go with more of a bio Blue Flame composition, and he's going to get Starport. So he's going to try to drop Marines and Hellions and try to do damage that way. And once again, kind of utilizing the fact that this map is very easy to get Reapers in. Reapers kind of like a pseudo-flying unit. If it's easy for Reapers to get in, then it's easy for Medivacs to get in, and that definitely holds true. A lot of open space to work with around the outside of the Zerg base, as you guys can see here. A lot of open space. So those Blue Flame Hellions next to the medevacs, inside the medevacs, can do a lot of damage. And what are these buildings trying to do here? Very tactful by Alive. After getting the Blue Flame upgrade, he swaps it onto the reactor, so now he's going to have a lot of Hellion production, essentially 2 factories worth. And it looks like Nestea now still hasn't grabbed the 3rd base yet. A little surprised Nestea hasn't grabbed the 3rd. Usually we see him get the 3rd very quickly. This time staying more on 2 bases, going Muta Baneling, I believe. No, just Baneling Nest for now. And playing a much more conservative style ZVT, but not the style where you get a bunch of economy. As we can see, he's only ahead by 8 workers right now. And pretty soon we're going to have the medevacs going out. No, just a Viking coming out initially, and now the medevac coming after the Viking. Blue Flame Hellions beginning to drive out across the map, claiming the Xel'Naga Tower. That's actually a lot of Hellions, guys. They can certainly do a lot of damage. Will Nestea, or will Alive reveal the Blue Flame upgrade here? Yes, he will. And I don't know if he really wanted to do that, because now he might prompt the Zerg player to throw down a Roach Warren. And that could stop the Blue Flame Hellions in their tracks, but we'll see what happens. The Viking going over to the left side, gonna try to clear out the Overlord so he can make a good pathway through the skies to drop into the main. And right now he's gonna go ahead and drop from the middle of the map. He's got 8 Marines here, along with the Blue Flame Hellions on the low ground. This is a great position. With the Marines on the high ground, they can kill off anything, and the Hellions have a great range that can basically provide backup firepower as well. And Alive here in a really good spot. He's just got to be careful about those Banelings. Loads up the Marines. Wasn't able to save most of them, though. And now he's actually in a little bit of a spot. He's got to get off the purple stuff. Got to get off the creep, but he's got Blue Flame. He can do so much damage with Blue Flame upgrade. And he's roasting up all the Zerglings. Able to kill off almost every single one. 'Tis the power of Blue Flame Hellions. But where you have power, you also have weaknesses. You cannot send Hellions across a Spine Crawler. And Alive knows that. So it looks like he's going to have to patiently wait outside for reinforcements here. He has cleared off the Overlord, the air pathway, the airways into the Zerg main. So he can certainly do a couple of medevac drops if he so pleases. Tons of upgrades coming on that tab right now. We have, it looks like we're going to have a lot of factories coming up, as well as, you know what, he could just be going to pure biomech with bunches of upgrades. Combat shield, stim pack finished already. +1 weapons, armory coming down early on so he can get the mech upgrades, and he can get 2-2 for the bio. Another command center coming. The Zerg, meanwhile, going to be relying purely on Muta Baneling. And here comes some Blue Flame Hellions dropping into the main. Don't know what they're hesitating for, though. This is actually giving the Zerg time to react, and it looks like the Zerglings should be able to get a good surround here. And I'm not too sure why Alive was just kind of hesitating there. He probably wasn't paying attention to that medevac. But there are so many upgrades coming right now. But what we're seeing at this point really is the Zerg player going to be rocking basically Muta Baneling. We'll see if Nestea opts to go for Hive Tech this game or not. The Terran player opting for Marine Tank. And it's a pretty conventional game at this point. None of those drones died either, by the way. And total workers killed this game pretty low, 1 and 3. That medevac is going to fall. And Alive really trying to get these Marine Hellion drops in. I do think one thing that has kind of helped Nestea a bit is that the Blue Flame Hellions, you know, that's a huge upgrade, and that's a big investment to get that many Hellions. I don't think they've done that much damage. They did kill off some Zerglings, but they didn't really kill off any drones, and that's typically what you want to do. And I think Nestea has a lot to be thankful for, considering he hasn't lost any workers yet. So that's one thing going pretty well for him. And it looks like we have a potential command center coming down on the low ground here towards the 3rd. Gonna have to blast through those rocks first. And oh, look at this! Marines dropping inside the Zerg 3rd base! They're gonna be able to do a lot of worker damage here. And Nestea has to be careful. He's losing Mutalisk, but he was able to pick off the medevac. No, he wasn't. That medevac is still alive, and wow, Alive getting up to 11 worker kills here before his Marines are finally dispatched. Nice job by the Terran player. Now let's take a look at his bio upgrades. 0-1, 0-0 for the mech. He's about to have 2 weapons and 1 armor and 1 vehicle weapons. Zerg ground at 1-1, about to have 2-1. So the upgrades are pretty close. Look at that Muta pack, though. Just waiting in the skies like ravenous vultures, ready to just go down and pick up anything they want. Just hungry for food right now, and certainly those mutas can go into the third and do a lot of damage before those missile turrets come up. There's really not that much anti-air protection at all. A lot of Marines being spread out here and disjointed as Alive is worried about protecting the main. And here comes those Mutalisks. They can do a lot of damage here. Looks like the missile turret gets canceled, and all these SCVs and mules under harass. Will Alive get his Marines back here in time? It looks like he's forced to use a stim. And that was a good trade once again for the Zerg player. Forces a stim and kills off a turret, kills off some SCVs as well. Good creep spread so far by the Zerg player as well. Nestea is, he's known kind of, not as much as Don Regu for his creep spread, but known for good creep spread nonetheless. And we can see this time taking the opportunity to spread it into the middle of the map. We saw on Daybreak how important it is to have good creep spread. It is vital. And if you don't have good creep spread, well, you know, the Terran player doesn't have to worry about that buffer zone and can attack you at so many points in the game. So it's very important to make sure you have that buffer zone to protect you. Nestea right now has a 4th base coming up, and at the same time also has Infestation Pit down and is going into Hive Tech. So for the first time here, we are going to have Hive Tech coming out for the Zerg player. One medevac, meanwhile, making its way over to the left-hand side of the map. This medevac is going to get picked off. And we'll see if Alive is going to be able to do any damage with this. It's unlikely, though, because there are Overlords in position. Meanwhile, Zerglings chasing after these Marines here. And Alive has got to be careful. He's got to bring these Marines back home in cover of the tanks. He's got so many tanks back here. Easily able to take out those Zerglings as they got in range. But what about this medevac? Was it able to get in here unseen? And an SCV dropping off first? That's funny. And here we go, the Marines are down on the ground. Will they be able to do any damage? Another Marine dropship coming in here towards the Zerg 4th. But what's really dangerous here is the main. Nestea doesn't have any units back there. He was not paying attention to the drop paths. And there's another dropship once again dropping over at the high ground of the 4th base. Finally, the Mutalisk in position, able to clean up, but not before some more workers did go down. About up to 12 right now. And we'll see if this Marine pack does any damage later on in the game. They're just kind of sitting idly by right now. Nestea rolling in here with a lot of Banelings. And he's trying to figure out when's the best opportunity to attack. Of course, the more the Terran player comes out into the middle of the map, the more exposed he is. So he needs to be careful here. And it looks like Banelings have found their way into the base. Meanwhile, the Marines were able to drop over here. They did do some damage. Not sure how much. And the Banelings trying to give chase here to the Marines. Alive has got to be careful. He's losing packs of Marines, but he's doing such a good job of spreading them out. He actually mitigated a lot of Marine damage there. And at the Workers Kill tab, actually no drones going down at the Zerg 4th. I thought some did, but it was not the case. So, you know, both sides trading pretty evenly there. I think Nestea killing off the medevac, he came out in that regard, and then Nestea sending a bunch of Banelings in here, but Alive able to mitigate a lot of damage by spreading out his Marines, coming out ahead in that regard. So it's a pretty close game right now, but it looks like the Terran player on the other side of the map will maybe have to go into a base race here, as Zerglings have found their way into the Terran 3rd. And oh, what a fungal! The Banelings crash in and all the Marines go down. Alive is left with only Metal here, and Metal is so immobile. And Alive needs to be careful right now. These Metal units need to evacuate the area as the Zerg units are coming back. They can definitely flank and surround them. Let's see how many workers he lost in this base as well. Quite a bit, not too serious though. And oh, he's got to get out of here. It looks like he couldn't save the other 2 tanks as there was an infestor there. Kind of like, what? If you come save with your medevacs, I'll just fungal you down and you lose the rest of your units. And now Alive stranded off into this little base. Every one of his units here is going to die. Alive trying to evacuate. It's a desperate attempt. Even the medics won't make it out. And it looks like Nestea here taking every opportunity to break the Geneva Convention, killing off the medics in war. And here comes another medevac trying to drop off 7 Marines behind that hatchery. But will he be able to do any damage? He so desperately needs to find his tempo in this game. He is right now being controlled in every which way. That medevac drop is going to get shut down as well. And now it's 184 supply to 133. Certainly looks like Nestea's going to take this to the 5th game here. Look at this Zergling horde. He's at Hive Tech. Does not have Adrenal Glands, but hey, it's okay. He's got Brute Lords coming out. And I think Nestea is in a fantastic spot. Alive, struggling to maintain this 3rd base. 45 to 77 workers. His army supply is down as well, and now we are going to have a base race once again. All the SCVs and mules running away. Where have we seen this picture before? As Alive makes a big attack on the ground here, trying to get vengeance for his fallen brothers. Will he be able to do so? He's found the Brood Lords. He's got to stem up and take out those Brood Lords. Don't know what he's waiting for. Surprised he's not sending a pack of units to take out the Brood Lords. There we go. Kills off all 3 Brood Lords immediately. And at the meantime, Zergling counterattack galore. Nestea is going for the base race. Alive is inside the 4th. He's actually killed off the 4th. These drones might not make it out alive either. They might not see another day of daylight. And these SCVs, gotta say the same for them. They're definitely going to hell unless they can run up the wall. But now you've faced it with this dilemma, this moral dilemma. Do I save the SCVs? Or do I just let them die? It looks like he's got enough Marines behind the wall. Maybe just keep them alive after all. As his Marines here encountering some pockets of resistance. Fungal growth comes down as they continue to march forward. It looks like these drones were spared, surprisingly. And meanwhile, the orbital command is burning. Will he be able to save the orbital in time? All the SCVs dying underneath. He's got to bring some more SCVs to repair. Meanwhile, Marines attacking at the Zerg 3rd. This is an all-out warfare here, but look at the Terran economy. It's only down to 18 workers. Nestea still has a lot of drones alive. He's going to go mine at the new 5th base, or new 4th base, I should say, as he loses his 3rd. And wow, this is getting down to the wire. I can't believe this. Alive, I thought was for sure out of this game. He made a base race, and I think he's gonna pull out ahead here. This is unbelievable. Even though Nestea has more workers, he doesn't have any army. He just doesn't have any army. And look at the economy for Alive. He has 0 money right now. He's not mining a dime. He's just going with whatever units he's got. And there's drones coming off the field to fight here. Drones fighting Marines. And some Marines going over to the 5th base. They are going to definitely kill off that hatchery as infestors come in here trying to get a fungal off. Unable to do so. Trying to protect the Brood Lords. The Brood Lords are going to fall. And I cannot believe what I'm seeing right now. Nestea is actually losing right here. 'Tis the power of 3-3 Marines. What are the Zerg upgrades at? Oh, the Zerg upgrades are only at 1-0? Wow, I'm shocked. Alive with super heavy upgrades, maxed out way earlier than his opponent, and that is why he won the base race. 3-3 Marines are killer. And unfortunately, the Zerg doesn't have anywhere near as many upgrades as that. Queen, you're done for. Just 1 armor? Yeah, right. These Marines laugh in the face of armor. And it looks like these drones, I guess, are able to fight to save themselves. But now more Marines coming in. And let's see if 5 Marines can kill off these drones. I would imagine so. Yeah, drones with no upgrades are going to die. And meanwhile, inside the main production buildings falling at the same time. Oh, actually, the drones are going to win. 1 armored drones for the win. These 2 Marines are holding their ground, and they finally die. But I think Nestea has been carved out alive by Alive. His Greater Spire bleeding to death. He's at 35 supply right now, most of that just being drones. And he can't make anything else. He's going to try to hold the high ground here with a Brood Lord and 2 Infestors. But if Marines coming in single file like this, they can actually just, you know, circumvent the Infestor and the fungal growth. And there's even a medevac here. Maybe the medevac's going to go down to the Corruptors. It will, not before it unloads some Marines, though. And I think that's going to be all she wrote. There's too many Marines here. And GG calls Nestea. Fnatic Alive is your winner, ladies and gentlemen. What a crazy game that was to conclude this series. I mean, I thought for sure that Nestea was ahead, but looking back at the upgrade department, it was actually Alive this entire game who was way ahead in upgrades, and that's something that's very hard to, I guess, kind of catch in the heat of battle. But look at how he was churning out these upgrades so early on. And what happened with Nestea's upgrades? I thought he was keeping up pace. He had melee attacks level 2 coming. Was it canceled or something? Let's see what happens here. It could have been this dropship. I don't really know what happened. I think he maybe had melee attacks level 2, but that was pretty much it for his upgrades as these Marines came in. And I think he just never got to 3-3. That was the big deal, because the 3-3 Marines are still very much stronger than 1-2 Zerglings. And let's go ahead and forward up to the point of where this game kind of started to take shape. In fact, I thought for sure at this point that Alive was done for. If you look at 195 supply to 137, Nestea is just kicking right now. The one thing though that we didn't count for is his upgrades. 1-2 only. The Marines were already at 3-3. So if you go into a base race scenario like this, you know, against a Terran, you've got to kind of navigate the maze, the labyrinth of the bases. You got to get past walls and stuff. That takes a lot of time. On the other hand, Marines and tanks don't have to work through mazes and such things. They just got to worry about fungal growth and the creep spread. And so what Alive, I think, did this time was just go straight for the gusto, because in a base race situation, you actually do not have the time to take out creep tumors. If you're in a base race scenario, it's actually pretty wise to just go straight for the hatcheries. And, you know, he did a good job of that. Whereas, you know what, Nestea was kind of just hesitating, trying to decide what he wanted to do. Finally said, okay, I'm going to go attack. But he didn't have adrenal glands. He only had 1-2. And then he said, you know what, I'm going to send half my army back. So all that hesitation from Nestea was what really cost him. And this was the major point of the attack here, but the Terran units were pretty far spread out. And the supreme micro really by Nestea, or by Alive, excuse me, just able to keep the Marines away from the Banelings, letting the tanks absorb the shots, and then letting the 3-3 Marines auto-attack and armor do the rest of the work. That's just how supremely powerful they truly are. And nothing is going to stop that many Marines with that many upgrades under that many metapacks. So it's unfortunate, because I thought for sure that Nestea was going to be able to at least do some counterattack damage, but it looks like Alive was able to save that orbital command as well. So great job by Alive, recognizing he had the better upgrades, going for the kill, going for the juggler, where a lot of StarCraft 2 players lack that killer instinct. Alive certainly does not, and he was able to kill out Nestea today. Wow, what a game. What a series of games. This is really, really fun. I hope you guys enjoyed. And coming up next, I'm going to have a couple of more StarCraft 2 casts. I will try to get that Guild Wars 2 video out for you guys in the very near future. I hope you guys enjoyed. This is HD, signing out.